You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design's Feng Shui School, episode 336, Feng Shui Qi Forecast for July 2025. Welcome to episode 336 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Anjie, Cho, and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School and authors of Mindful Living, a guide to the everyday magic of Feng Shui. We teach Feng Shui online at mindfuldesignschool.com. We're also now on YouTube, so if you want to see our faces while we're talking, you can visit our YouTube channel. We have our episodes up there now. You can also sign up for our mailing list for special free opportunities, workshops, and events that are available only to our newsletter subscribers. So for instance, we just taught a free plant workshop. We're having a giveaway, and we also have upcoming free events that will only be available for our newsletter subscribers. And you can join our newsletter by visiting mindfuldesignschool.com/join. So we have our monthly Qi forecast for July, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we have July coming up. Big Qi in July. So Laura's going to get us started.
Hello, podcast listeners. As you know, we do our Chi forecast at the beginning of each month. We will talk about the solar terms, key dates like solar terms, and we'll talk about the full moon. We'll talk overall what is that energy of the month. Talk a little bit about maybe what those zodiac animals are and some good dates for that. And then we do a reading. We do some type of energy reading, and this month I will be doing a tarot card reading. So let's get started. July. July is typically, not always, the hottest time of year. July has that big yang energy, high temperatures, high humidity, and that, of course, creates these dramatic, big booming thunderstorms. It's a really active time with a lot of fire chi swirling around. And as a result, everything around us gets illuminated. And when I mean illuminated, yes, the sun is up and it's bright and it's sunny all the time, but energetically things come to the surface, and things that are hidden are revealed by this yang fire chi, or even the sun's light, right? Because you're getting a lot of light. And you might find that because of this, you will start to seek out or maybe crave that cooling relief of yin energy, maybe even yin water chi to balance out this month. So, key dates, solar term. 2 solar terms for this month. The first one is, every month has 2 solar terms, but the first for this month is July 7th, and it's called minor heat. Sometimes it's referred to as slight heat. And it is when temperatures are increasing. Fire element is salt. It was already building in June, but now it's just raising the roof. I like to visualize, when we were writing the book, Mindful Living, I really started thinking about what are some things that I think of when it's this beginning of the month of July. And yes, it's fire, but I like what kind of things for me represent yin fire and those little sparks. And actually, I think even when we were looking and picking photographs for the chapter that had to do with this, and I was picking for July, I was seeking out photos that made me think of, yes, it's yang fire, but what was a way to look at different versions of it. And one was fireflies, is something in my mind that I always think of, because the fireflies where I live, this is the time they come out. And I think I found images with little tea lights in them or something, like glittering lights. And so it's this examination of what fire chi looks like and how it shows up in different ways, especially at this time of year. But fire chi also has to do with being visible, being active and out in the world, being social. It starts to feel a little bit more natural this time of the year, just kind of going out and being seen. Then we move into the second solar term 2 weeks later, July 22nd, called Great Heat. This is the scorcher, right? We all know this heat of summer. And again, it doesn't mean that wherever you live, this will be the exact, alignment for you. But in that range of those 2 weeks, you will probably be experiencing that if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. And great heat is that height of summer. It is how we understand it, right? I know this, you've got the summer solstice and all that stuff, and that's great. But this is where you actually meet the halfway point of the 24 solar terms. And in many climates, there are experiencing this hot, humid conditions, peaking again, those thunderstorms, those spectacular thunderstorms. And you really appreciate those thunderstorms that offer up this cool yin water in the form of rain, right? And it's this natural balance to a big, hot, yang energy. So we're midway in the solar terms and we're peaking in the yang qi. And the full moon for the month of July will be happening on July 11th this year. And it's referred to as historically as the buck moon, but it's also referred to as thunder moon. And I talked a bit about why thunder moon makes a lot of sense. And buck moon is referring to historically that buck or a deer, male deer's antlers are at their largest and are fully grown at this time of year. When you think about before, when people were thinking historically and in other cultures of how to express that this time of year is that sort of peak, this is such a great metaphor and a great example of it, because the name symbolizes an energetic peak, right? When horns on a male deer are at its biggest is the name they give to the moon at the most young time of year. I mean, it makes sense symbolically too.
As far as the Chinese zodiac is concerned, July is the month of the ram, which makes sense. Laura was just talking about the buck moon. And so this is the month of the ram. So that means that if you were born in the year of the horse or the year of the rabbit or the pig, it's a supportive month for you, because those who are born in the horse, ram, and pig years have a compatible chi with the animal ram. Ram is also known as goat or sheep. If you're born in the year of the rat or the year of the ox, it's a month to be a bit careful because you have incompatible chi. As well, each month there are some days that are called Po days, which are days that we want to be a little bit careful. And there are 4 Po days this month. And if you were part of our New Year's reset program that we have every year, you received a list of all of them. But we'll share one with you this month. And one of those days to lay low, to take it easy, is July 19th. So everyone can benefit from taking it easy that day. And we also have been sharing something that we shared in our New Year's reset program. So every year for Lunar New Year, we do what's called a New Year's reset program. So we'll be having another one. It usually opens for enrollment right around Thanksgiving, US Thanksgiving, right around mid-November. And then it culminates in a live gathering on Lunar New Year. So next year we'll be celebrating the year of the horse. Anyway, we give a list of all the auspicious dates and all the challenging dates, but for July, we'll give you one lucky date for each animal. So you want to look at the year that you were born. So if you were born in the year of the rat, July 26th is a great day for you. The year of the ox, July 30th, tiger, July 29th, rabbit, July 16th, dragon, July 15th, snake, July 26th, horse, July 13, ram, July 21, monkey, July 23, rooster, July 22, dog, July 21, and pig, July 20th.
So to recap, the chi for the month of July is Fire chi is here. It is big yang energy, lots and lots of it. Ask yourself what is happening where you live in your climate. I was mentioning that for me, this time of year is embodied and expressed in watching the fireflies and, just masses of these little tiny yin fires flooding all over the way during a hot, hot, humid nights, and those unbelievably large thunderstorms that are just spectacular. Also, energetically, from a personal chi standpoint, it is a time where things are becoming visible for you. Things may come to light, realizations. You might be opening yourself up to stuff that you maybe weren't aware of. You're out and about, you're meeting more people, you're putting yourself out there. Another thing to remember is don't burn yourself out. Big fire energy, you want to balance it out and take care of yourself. So, tarot reading. I will be doing a tarot card reading this month. And I asked for our podcast listeners, what should we, the collective we listeners, be aware of to help us align with this time of year? And I pulled 2 cards. I did a 2-card pull, 2-card spread, essentially. The first card is a card that has to do with what do we need to know? Or basically, this card is saying we need to know that X. We need to be aware of X. And then the second card gives color to that and reminds us, but don't forget this. And so this is the type of reading I did. The first card, when I asked, what should we be aware of? What do we need to know? X, we need to know the 9 of Pentacles is the card that I pulled. The 9 of Pentacles is, and because we're on YouTube now, people can see the cards. So there you go. I'm going to put that there. The 9 of Pentacles is such a beautiful card. It's one of my favorites, honestly. This woman, it's essentially, I like to visualize her walking through her vineyards of her villa in her beautiful, gown with her hawk on her hand. It just speaks of abundance and arrival and success. Also, the number 9, it's in the 9 of Pentacles, is a very strong number in both tarot and Feng Shui. You've heard us talk a lot about Feng Shui and auspiciousness of 9. So there's similar undercurrents that run in both modalities. 9 in tarot speaks to a fundamental force. It is the end of a cycle because it's the last single digit, right? And it is about lessons learned because, again, you've kind of come to this end of you've kind of come so far that you've learned things. And also has to do with stepping into this fundamental force, stepping into this power. So it's a powerful number. Pentacles, or sometimes referred to as coins, pentacles as a suit are about material, resources, stability, grounding. And the symbols in this card are, as I mentioned, some of them. The grapes, she's walking in front of, looks like almost a vineyard. They're full, heavy with grapes, and they're ready to be harvested. So that's abundance. There's a hawk that she's holding, as a sporting hawk that she's holding. He's sitting on her gloved hand. And the hawk is about having a wider perspective, right? Vision. You can fly up high and see what's happening. You can really give you that perspective. And then there's a small snail. I'm going to go in real close if you want to see. If you go in and look, you can see that little, it looks probably like a black dot on the video, but there's a little snail in the corner. And that snail symbolizes self-reliance because he carries his home on his back. He doesn't need any help. So this card overall is about stepping into your power, into your confidence. It's about attaining that next level of your personal growth. So what do we need to know at this time is that you have everything you need and you don't have to rely on others at this time. and you are allowed to step into this next level. Maybe you're ready to level up. But don't forget, and I pulled the Six of Wands, also a great card, both great cards. The Six of Wands, which is the scene of the triumphal entry into the city. Essentially, you're on a horseback, red cape, laurels, and it is this celebration as the returning from some type of a victory. And the number six is about harmony and accomplishments. The Wands suit is connected with energy, with creative force. So this card shows this triumphal return or celebration, a victory, an accomplishment. But we need to remember that the Wands as a suit also represents your values and your motivations. It's a very personal. So you do not want to forget this, as what the Wands reminds us is that you want to stay to your true to your values. So don't forget what is important to you. Yes, you have succeeded, but don't lose sight of the bigger picture. So I would say overall, these two cards are very great cards, lovely, positive cards. Overall, it is a reading of abundance and success, but it reminds us to let go of our ego and make sure that it doesn't get the best of us. Yes, you can be successful, you can be self-reliant, but try not to do it at the cost of losing connection to others, because each of these cards has an underlying theme and a cautionary theme, as I like to kind of look at it. There's always a subtle theme. For the Nine of Pentacles, being independent and self-reliant is important, and you've earned that success, and that's great, but solitude is good, but loneliness is something you want to watch for. So doing it all on your own sometimes can come at a cost. And so what is that cost? And is that a worry that you have? And to watch for that. And the Six of Wands, congratulations on your accomplishments, but don't get cocky and change your core values. And if you look at this card, if you have a chance to take a look at this card, if you can check out the video, you can see it too, because I've got it here. If you take a look at this card, the horse that he's riding in on is giving major side eye back over its shoulder, just to say, basically, buddy, don't get too cocky. Don't get too self-congratulatory. You still have some way to go. Don't keep your eye, on the prize. So it's essentially, this card is, yes, about victory, but don't get too cocky and definitely don't lose sense of yourself. So that is the two cards that I pulled. I mean, overall, those are two great cards, both minor arcana cards. So, lower key energy when you don't have a major arcana come up. These aren't going to be overall life themes. These are going to be kind of what are some actions you can take right now? What are some things you can think about right now? And so if you are at a point where you should just really take a look, because I think there's a lot of successes that you're maybe not seeing right now, and that you do actually have a lot of tools and a lot of capabilities that maybe you're just not paying attention to. Angie.
Yeah. So one thing that I was able to kind of make a feng shui connection with, and then well, actually, could you kind of give me like
Mm-hmm.
a summary of your reading again? Sorry,
It's
because it was
okay.
a lot.
It was a lot. Okay. So you got the Nine of Pentacles,
Mm-hmm.
which is abundance.
Okay.
Okay. Lots of abundance,
Mm-hmm.
self-reliance, leveling up. You can do it, and you can do it by yourself. You don't necessarily need others to help you, right?
Okay.
Because you've got the tools. And then, but don't forget,
That you
right?
need others.
Don't forget to lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't get cocky. Okay. Cause you're going to victory. You're going to be, it's all good. You've succeeded in both of these cards. It's telling you lots of success, lots of moving forward, lots of great, but cautionary is, and I always like to do the cautionary take on this, even though it's super positive, is, stay humble. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't lose sense of yourself, is what I would say.
Okay. Well, I have an idea, and then maybe you have another idea for a feng shui way to work with this in July.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea is that the community could actually spend time focusing on their dining room area because that represents community and it's in your own home. So it can be a representation of your prosperity or abundance, what you
Hmm.
can offer. And maybe you clean your dining room table, you create a nice offering, a gathering, invite friends for a gathering, because having a lot of abundance, like, what's the point of that? Like, if you just keep it to yourself, you lose sight of what it means. And part of it is about sharing with your community. So having a community gathering, whether it be for another couple that you're friends with or a friend, or maybe a larger event, but doing something for other people by tapping into your own resources and inviting people into your home. And then naturally, what comes out of that is that people begin to see your generosity. You can share your successes. People will acknowledge different aspects of your successes that you would not have considered. And then in turn, you can share some of that wealth. You can share some of your abundance, but you can also do the same for others. So spending time in community gathering and offering something simple like a meal, or maybe a beautiful place setting. And again, not losing sight of yourself, because I think people are starting to have more gatherings with friends and family in their homes, but maybe it's not as much as it has been in the past since we had the pandemic and everything. But it's a time to invite, share, and share the wealth.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think because the 9 of Pentacles, one of the things is she's alone, right? And yes, she's able to do it, but it is actually sometimes one of the themes that comes up is that, you know what? Yes, she has it all, but she's kind of lonely. And she's doing it all herself and she's like really arrived, but at like what cost? Like she's done it, and now she's sad and kind of alone. I mean, it's sometimes how people interpret that card. And then the 6 of Wands is like basically a celebration. So I think that's essentially what you mean is like, yeah, you've done it all and maybe you've got this, you feel really accomplished and you've got this abundance in this card, but it's good in this card, but you want to share it. So I would say my interpretation is, like you said, that's a great idea. And also the theme of this card is success and abundance. So to do something really straightforward, if you want, you can work in the corner in the area of wealth, which is Shun. There's grapes,
Purple area.
which is purple
See,
area.
now that
Yeah.
we're
And
doing this other stuff, I have to, like, Shun is spelled Xun, and it's a purple because we have like all this
yeah,
showing transcribed now. So it's the purple abundance area of the Feng Shui Bagua.
yes. Far left-hand corner of a bedroom or a
When you
home
when you're standing in the
when you're
doorway.
standing in the front door. Okay. That area speaks all about abundance and prosperity. And so you can add something purple in there. Hey, you could add a picture of grapes. I don't know. Actually, I think we have that in our book. So it has that abundance and then celebrate it. I mean, keep it really simple and then celebrate it with others and, continue to build on, be happy for your accomplishments. Don't sell yourself short. You've done a lot of work and just be happy and have that celebration. And if you want to celebrate it with others and have a party at your dining room table
With lots of grapes.
with
That
lots of
image,
grapes. There you go.
the
Purple
image of
grapes.
grapes.
Everyone go out and get purple grapes
Mhm.
and do that. And those grapes can be in grape form or they could also be in fermented grape form.
Okay, well, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every week for a new podcast episode. And if you like our podcast and this episode, you can subscribe, you can leave a review, you can check out our book, Mindful Living, and most especially, you can sign up for our mailing list. That's the best way to keep in touch with all of the things that we offer. You can visit mindfuldesignschool.com/join. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.